waiting for the last driver to grid for Bandit GT3 Racing at Road Atlanta. Aiden Norman going to be starting on the front row in that lovely purple Porsche after the dominating performance he put in last week. 21 laps of action, waiting for everybody to get moving. And we're racing. Aiden Norman leads Ethan Winters, Toby Estes, Colin McDonough into the first corner. Bandit GT3 is green. Aiden Norman leads down the long straight. Dylan Van Wart now battling with Aaron Edwards, headed into the left-right combination, up the hill, under the bridge, down through turn 11 and 12. And that will complete one of the 2.5-mile laps at Brazelton's Road Atlanta, the iRacing version at least. If you just tuned in, you have not missed a thing. All green, Aiden Norman leading this race, and probably with intention of walking away with the points lead. Ethan Winters sits in third, battling with Colin McDonough. Shout out Emily Seeger in the house. She says everything looks good. Shout out Colin McDonough. And he's now down to the fourth position. Aaron Edwards behind him. There goes Ethan Winters. And the Ohio pilot goes for a spill in the number 10 Porsche, while Colin McDonough and Aaron Edwards are now going to battle for position. And through the final few chicanes, and then the hills there through Road Atlanta. Shout out to the new followers of Rick James TV. All right. Aiden Norman, 1:19.88. He just went fastest. Aaron Edwards, 1:20.81. Colin McDonough behind him, and Dylan Van Wart running in fourth. Stephen Choate rounding out the top five. Further on back, James Kerr III goes off the racetrack. Or no, it's Toby Estes, mind you, who goes off the racetrack. Jimmy Kerr gets around him, and now there goes Kerr right ahead of Toby Estes. And the North Carolinian goes for a ride. Patrick Allen from Atlantic City in his black Mustang, chasing down the white and red Mustang of Toby Estes. Steph cheering for Colin McDonough, who moves into the third position after getting around Dylan Van Wart. And chasing down Aaron Edwards into the chicane. Let's go on board with Colin. Into him furiously downshift. Steph and Emily both reminded me that the stream is much better than Thursday. And I think that has to do with the fact that I'm not trying to harness the power of the sun with my computer. In essence, I stopped running the shaders so high and just turned down the the detail of a couple of objects, and at least we're moving at minimum 30 frames per second. That's all anybody can ask for, right? Matter of fact, yeah. We'll see how long this holds up. We should be good. Anyway, knock on wood. Aiden Norman leads the race by 8 seconds over Aaron Edwards, which is kind of freakish, really. That kid is something else. So, obviously, we can't just let him get away with this forever. We're going to have to rein him in at some point, and that's kind of been the spirit of Bandit GT3. It's like, whose line is it anyway? The racing's just for fun, and the positions don't matter, because if somebody gets way too ahead of everybody else, we'll throw a caution and bunch everybody up. But the racing's been good so far. Dylan Van Wart finds himself 1.3 seconds behind Colin McDonough, but Stephen Choate is starting to chase him up. Let's go on board with Choate in the Mustang. And Choate gets out of the fifth corner, now chasing down Dylan Van Wart. That's fourth place. They're going to discuss. 12 seconds ahead of that, Aiden Norman. Look at this. Well, while we're talking about Aiden Norman, Stephen Choate goes well off the racetrack in turns 6 and 7, or the double apex, if you will. Let's see what happened to him. He just sails off the racetrack. Luckily, he saves it. Dakota Pierce and Jacob Renneker will get around the Montana pilot, and there is Jacob Renneker just ahead of Stephen Choate. Dylan Van Wart went off the racetrack. The Corvette's doing okay. Jimmy Kerr getting overtaken by Ethan Winters, who spun off the track earlier. Plenty of drivers have gone for a spin, a spill, something that has really just torn their race apart. And Ethan Winters, who's expected to be running towards the front, there goes Stephen Choate again. Everybody's spilling off the racetrack. And this time he actually went off and he caught some damage. Let's see what happened to Stephen. That's going to put Stephen down to the 8th position, where New Jersey's Patrick Allen is still trailing him by 11.5 seconds. Dylan Van Wart, 0.9 of a second ahead of Dakota Pierce. Let's go on board with the Acura. That's a great sound, and it's a great racetrack. If you haven't seen a race at Road Atlanta, watch the Petit Le Mans. Watch a Mazda MX-5 race here. You can find plenty on YouTube. The race leader, trying to not be the race leader anymore. Aiden Norman goes flying off the racetrack. Really surprised the way he just pulls that off. Just keeps the race car in control. Let's go on board with Aiden one more time. Watch this. Well, we don't have to go on board with Aiden. That's just impressive. That was cool. Anyway, control like that is probably why he's 10 seconds ahead, which is pretty ridiculous. Stephen Choate comes into the pits. Dylan Van Wart only has a 1 second gap back to Dakota Pierce, and here they go down the long straight again. And that is fourth place up for discussion, the Corvette ahead of the NSX and the 296 of Jacob Renneker, the lone Ferrari in this field. Drivers are getting faster. Dylan Van Wart, 1:19.93. He ran his personal best. Ethan Winters ran his personal best. Expected to be towards the front, but on lap number 2, he did this. And Colin McDonough gave him a bit of some help. And then Aaron Edwards, right ahead of Colin McDonough's Porsche. He holds on to that second position, and Aaron Edwards running in second, while Ethan Winters will make his way around Patrick Allen in the Mustang. Out of turn number 5, the chase is on. Not a question of if, but when. Winters to the inside, headed into turn 6 and 7, but he won't take the advantage on the double apex. Now he will. Patrick Allen goes wide, and some light contact, if any. No harm, no foul. And Winters moves into 8th. Meanwhile, behind third place, 4th and 5th, looking like it's about to change hands. That's Dakota Pierce all up the back end of Dylan Van Wart's Corvette. Through the S's. Up through turn number 5. And a Liverbird upon the chest of the number 32 Red Bull Corvette. The Acura NSX tries to widen the line through the double apex. Dakota Pierce with the aqua, cyan, and golden colored AOL chasing him up the hill, and just ahead is Jimmy Kerr III, but that's not for position. Kerr runs in 11th. We'll let these guys get by here. Aiden Norman just went quickest. Some contact between Kerr and Dylan Van Wart, just trying to sneak through, and Van Wart getting a huge advantage out of the left-right chicane for turn 10, 10A, 10B, whatever you like. Aiden Norman holds an advantage of 12 seconds over Aaron Edwards. I think that's as good a time as any to bring them back together. See what we can make happen here. There we go. Caution flag's going to come out. This is getting out of hand here. Let's see if we can talk to this gentleman who's just blitzing the field right now. Aiden Norman, Rick James in the house. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You have made this quite a boring race, but that's only because you had a 12-second advantage over the rest of the field. I'm not going to ask how you do it because you tortured us in TNT with 3 seasons of this constant dominance, but like a fish to water, you were saying in practice earlier, you shouldn't have picked the Porsche. You didn't think it was a good enough race car.
It's not that it's a bad race car, it's just I think the Mercedes would have been better. But, yeah.
So if you had the Mercedes, then you'd be dominating by 15 seconds, 16 seconds.
Maybe. I might have spun out on the first lap, too. Who knows?
You also could have spun out on the first lap. I think we saw a few laps ago, you had a really wide exit out of turn number 5, and the car was just skipping along the racetrack, but you holding it together like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
You having fun?
Yeah.
Good, man. Aaron Edwards, now sitting behind you trying to flash the lights.
I see it.
Let's bother him real quick. Aaron Edwards, Rick James in the house, and Aiden Norman as well. Dude, what's it going to take to get around the guy ahead of you?
Gonna have to find some more talent, find some more consistency. But I mean, before the caution got thrown there, I was on my fastest lap of the race. So if we can just keep that pace, we're going to be okay here.
So we're going to have roughly what? If we can... I'll tell you what. We'll let you get to the pits here. Talk about 1 to go. See if it's possible. And we'll try and get as many racing laps in as possible. But you boys have fun and keep the fenders on it to the last lap.
Will do.
I'm
I'll
scared.
try.
Gray for me.
Well, if Aiden Norman's scared, I don't know what to tell you. Steven Choate having an incident here in the 72. Maybe he's trying to rush back to the pace car. We'll see what happens. Can't park there, Steve. All right, so while the boring stuff happens, they're going to come down pits, probably get some more fuel, get tires. I have no idea why we bother putting a fuel window on these track facts, because it doesn't matter. We're going to bunch them back together. Everybody's coming into the pits. Aiden Norman is not. I don't know if this is just him. You know what? Let's find out. Aiden Norman, Rick James in the house. Now I have a question because you didn't come in. Ethan Winters didn't come in because he pitted on lap number 2, so he wants a piece of you. Everybody else came in. Is this just you sandbagging almost, if you will, or just kind of handicapping yourself?
I don't really know why they all pit, so it'll be interesting because I think this happened at Daytona too, and my theory then was keep tire heat, but I don't think that's a problem here, so I'm not sure why everyone pit. Maybe fuel because we're like within a lap, but I've got enough to make it. There's a green and white checkered, it's over. But
okay, so what you're saying is if well, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
if I decide to throw the caution.
If you throw a caution, I'll have to pit and I'll be at the back of the pack because no one else will pit.
You know, that...
Unless I save fuel.
You know what? Cars may just crash. And if cars crash, we may just have a caution.
That is true.
All right. Plenty of strategy. Plenty of fun. What are even the points coming into this? I have no idea. I can pull them up.
McDonough and Choate are tied for the lead, I believe.
I know that much. Let me pull them up quite quickly. And I'll tell everybody that cares, which is about 2 people. Yes, so you're right. Colin McDonough, Steven Choate, they're both tied at 17. Colin has the tiebreaker because he has 1 win. He won the season opener at Watkins Glen. And I can also pull it up here, if I'm not that dumb. You find yourself in 4th right now, 4 positions behind Toby Estes. So, I don't know. We may just have a reason to throw the caution just for the sake of you not winning and blowing away with this entire race. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Hey man, it ain't my series. You make the call.
Unfortunately, it is mine, and I can make that call, and it's a jerk move. We'll talk about it later. Have fun.
Well, I mean...
Nope, we'll talk about it later. Thanks, Aiden. We'll see if the lights stay on top of the pace car. And they do not, so we will go green this time by. Aiden Norman and Ethan Winters did not pit. Dylan Van Wart, everybody else, down through 11th, including James Kerr III, did come down into the pits. So, well, and he's coming down again. Okay, well. There's the pit laps. He had a 12-second lead before we through the yellow. Now Aiden Norman has the lead of a couple of tenths. He has not pit. Literally has not pit. He says he may not be able to make it if the caution comes out again. because he'll have to pit. Then he'll need to get fuel. But why not throw the caution anyway? We'll see. Genuinely, we'll see. We'll let them race for a few laps. We'll see what's up. Let's talk to Ethan Winters real quick before we go green. Ethan Winters, Rick James up top. Real quick, you spun on lap number 2, and you spent the entire race catching back up. Now you have another chance to get at Aiden Norman. How are you going to beat him this time?
You know, it's going to be tough. You got a guy that's got 5K, you know, road rating, and I don't really do this a whole lot. I have a little bit of experience in this car just from the Daytona 24. But, yeah, I just obviously can't make mistakes like I did there. That's going to be key here, and probably a good restart. But I think we're the only 2 people on warm tires here, so it should be good.
All right, buddy, have fun.
Thanks.
Winters will go to work. 3-time Thursday Night Thunder champion Aiden Norman has control of the field. We're racing again at Road Atlanta. A couple of cars going around at the back. That's Steven Choate. Aiden Norman ahead of Ethan Winters, Dylan Van Wart in 3rd, Renneker in 4th, Aaron Edwards rounds out the top 5. Jimmy Kerr, Patrick Allen behind them, and Norman already out to a 1-second advantage. Single file through the double apex. Van Wart has Aaron Edwards behind him. Look at Aiden Norman. He's snaking down that long back straight, if you will, towards the chicane, trying to break up any draft that Ethan Winters can get to him. He knows Winters is lethal. Aaron Edwards moves into 3rd. Here goes the fight. Colin McDonough trying to hold on to a top 5 position. He's got Dakota Pierce next to him. 7 becomes 6 laps to go. Ethan Winters 1.1 seconds behind Aiden Norman. Aaron Edwards 3/4 of a second ahead of Dylan Van Wart, and Toby Estes now closing up the gap. Let's go on board with Toby. And Toby Estes decides he no longer wants to fight for 5th. Jacob Renneker peeling away in the number 97 Ferrari. Colin McDonough looks to the inside. No dice. Let's hitch a ride with the 39. McDonough looks to the inside before the final turn, number 12. He manages to get around Jacob Renneker, and Colin McDonough now moves into the 5th position. Aiden Norman goes purple. He has the oldest tires of any competitor out there. He just put the fastest lap and the only sub 19 second lap here. 1:18.9. And Ethan Winters, 1:19.41 is the fastest he could manage, and he's got the identical Porsche behind him. Aaron Edwards and Ethan Winters will duel for the 2nd position. Down the long straight, that draft is tough to break. Edwards only half a second behind Ethan Winters. And into the chicane. They got to be careful not to step on each other's toes. Winters holding on to second for now. Through the S's one more time. 3/10 is all that remains between them, using all of the rumble strips. And again, these are the points coming into this third round of Bandit GT3 as the Porsches try to weave around each other. Ethan Winters runs second in the points. He's ahead right now in the number 10 Porsche. This is, from what I can see, I think Ethan's first Bandit GT3 start. I don't think he's scored points yet this season. Meanwhile, Aaron Edwards, he scored one lonely point. Goes to the inside looking for that second position, and he just can't quite pull it off. 4 to go next time by. And I think this will be as good a time as any to make sure Aiden Norman's not just going to peel away with this win, but the Porsches continue to do battle ahead of each other. And one more time, just because we can, we're going to throw the caution and we're going to bunch these drivers back up. So Aiden Norman has a 5.5 second lead. We're going to throw the caution flag out. Ethan Winters runs in second. Aaron Edwards runs in third. We'll freeze the field, and I mean, why the hell not? Aiden Norman is 5.5 seconds ahead. Let's hope he saved enough fuel. Van Wart in the 32 runs in fourth. Colin McDonough runs in that 5th position. Jacob Renneker in 6th. Dakota Pierce in 7th. So Norman's at the front now, and well, let's hope the man has enough fuel. Ethan Winters is in second, and he's got Aiden Norman. I'm sorry, not Aiden Norman. Aaron Edwards behind him. Let's see how that last battle went for him. Ethan, you had Aaron just right up your tailpipes, man. He was getting close. Were you worried he was going to get by, or did you kind of have him covered?
The car's not driving real straight, so yeah, I've screwed up. What I'm trying to figure out what corner this is. I think it's like 5 or 6. I've screwed up twice now. So yeah, we got some wheel damage. The car's not driving the best, so we're just gonna have to figure it out. But yeah, I definitely do not have the car to compete with. I think now the front two. I maybe had a car to compete, a little bit, but yeah, now that it's damaged, it's gonna be tough.
Well, and, it might just be worth it to see who's going to come down pit road as well while your teammate is flashing the lights behind you. Let them know we're going to we'll go back down there. We'll throw a quick yellow here. When the pace car comes back around, it'll be 1 to green. So you know what? But before we start making rash decisions, we'll talk about it here. We're gonna take just a short break. We'll figure out what we want to do for this last green-white checker. How about 30 seconds? Don't go anywhere. We'll take a 30-second break. Perfect time to grab a zesty drink, and we'll bunch them up for a 2-lap shootout for the end. It's been decided. We're going 1 to green. Aiden Norman, Ethan Winters on the front row to decide Bandit GT3 round number 3 at Road Atlanta. If you just tuned in, perfect timing. Green flag next time by. Everybody except Stephen Choate is on the lead lap, and Jimmy Kerr. So the top 9 are on the lead lap. And there's honestly about 4 cars that are within a shout of winning this race. And they happen to be in the top 5. Shout out to the folks at Drip Diecast that keep us going week after week. If you love racing, if you want a diecast, if you want some sort of memorabilia, check out Drip Diecast on eBay. They are your #1 online store for all sorts of NASCAR memorabilia. Drip Diecast on eBay, your #1 store for NASCAR memorabilia and more. Check them out on eBay. Drip Diecast. They are presenting basically everything we do here on Rick James TV, including Thursday's race, the Gen 4 cars at Chicagoland Speedway. We're taking the GT3 cars to Lime Rock next week. And then a week after Thursday, Watkins Glen International. So how about that? On what is mostly a oval racing streaming channel. We're going to do 2 road courses back-to-back next Monday and then next Thursday. For now, we got to settle what we have in front of us. Let's finish the food on our plates. GT3 cars at Road Atlanta. Aiden Norman, who has been the dominant force all race long, has Ethan Winters behind him, who says, well, the car doesn't drive so good. Aaron Edwards up his tailpipes the last 2 laps before the caution, and Dylan Van Ward, the Liverpool fan, the long shot, if you will. Colin McDonough rounds out the top 5. He is your points leader and Watkins Glen winner coming into this race. Don't sleep on him. This is the man to watch. Korea's Aiden Norman with control of the field coming out of turn number 12. 2 more laps at Road Atlanta. What do you got? We're green. Dakota Pierce going off the track in the background. And Aiden Norman already blasting away to a lead, but now the Porsches, the SimShop drivers, they will swap positions, and you'll see them doing this Thursday night as well. You're going to see almost all of these guys on Thursday night racing those Gen 4 cars, but they are just focused on what's in front of them. How about this threesome of Porsche 911s going down the long straight at Road Atlanta into the chicane. Colin McDonough almost through the grass. 4 Porsches at the front. Aiden Norman has made this a race of his own, but it's Winters, Edwards, and McDonough putting on the show. At the back, Patrick Allen and Dakota Pierce also in interesting times. Winters and Edwards in the gray, blue, and black Porsches. McDonough, the race 1 winner in the purple Porsche. Van Wart in the Corvette, watching in the distance, and Winters trying to pull away with second. Patrick Allen chasing down Dakota Pierce for 8th. Aaron Edwards. Look how wide of a line he takes out of turn number 5. Toby Estes almost off the racetrack behind them. And through the double apex one more time. Colin McDonough in the 39. Can he get a great run out of the corner? Into the chicane once more. McDonough looks to the inside. Ethan Winters has to get his braking right. Aaron Edwards, the Porsche in the middle, really throws it in. But he just can't make it stick. Aiden Norman will cross the line. He will win race 3 at Road Atlanta. Ethan Winters holds on for second. Aaron Edwards in third. Toby Estes just misses out on Jacob Renneker for the top 5. Colin McDonough crashed into the chicane. He was third. He's now struggling to finish in 8th. What happened to Colin? Just gave it too much up the hill. Dylan Van Wart gets around him. Once more with Colin. He started in 4th. He was 3rd before he went into the chicane. He came out 8th. The Watkins Glen winner and points leader headed into Road Atlanta. And that's going to cost him big time. Meanwhile, this guy deserves to celebrate. Aiden Norman thought he couldn't make it on fuel, and we kind of threw the caution in the hopes that it would be a much closer race. He broke out to a 12-second lead. We threw the caution. He broke out to a 6-second lead. We threw the caution again. And after one lap, it really was no contest. The North Carolinian, by way of Seoul, South Korea, wins race number 3. We're going to gather the podium, and we'll be back in just a sec. On the podium with our top 3 after what was a pretty simple win for Aiden Norman, but still really, really fun to watch for the rest of these guys. Talking about Ethan Winters, Aiden Norman, Colin McDonough at the end, despite the error, really throwing a lot of fun into it. Let's talk with our bronze medalist. How about that? Aaron Edwards in, what'd you drive? The number 15 Porsche? You guys looked identical all night long. But yeah, that number 15 Porsche, you guys were having a blast out there. Did you have fun?
I had a good blast. My only experience at Road Atlanta is in a slow car, so taking a car that is really fast and driving it at Road Atlanta, this thing ripped. So I'm looking forward to maybe doing some other cars here, seeing how the balance is. Like it was a lot of fun to drive a fast car at a fast track. So looking forward to what comes next, I suppose.
Well, what comes next is round 6 at Chicagoland Speedway in Thursday Night Thunder as your championship fight continues. Meanwhile, I was going to say Moldy. Noah, I almost forgot his name because all we do is call him Moldy. Noah Belleville, your biggest championship rival at the moment, also going to be there as well. Is everything shifting to Thursday now?
Yeah, I mean, last season we were probably a little bit quicker than Noah, but he's brought a lot of speed this season, so we're going to have to really focus in on Chicagoland. I think we're only out by 1 point, so just got to find a way to, just finish one spot ahead and see if we can't take the points lead for the first time.
We'll see you Thursday night. How about Ethan Winters coming home with that silver medal position? Aaron Edwards, who's been pretty much dominating Thursday nights for the last, 16 races. You expect that he's going to be able to get around you, but no, in the last lap, Ethan, you pulled away in your identical-looking Porsche. That was a blast to watch, man. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, that was fun. I don't think I've run a GT3 on that track. Everything I've run is like a GR86, so it's nice to try something different. Finished the race with a significant amount of wheel damage, so I was pretty surprised I held them off. But yeah, I mean, I've raced a lot of GT3s with Aaron. We ran the Daytona 24 together, and I was the closer, and he wasn't. So I mean, that tells you who's faster, right?
So I guess we'll see Thursday night then. We'll see you at Chicagoland. But headed into the next round here, which is what? Lime Rock. Aiden Norman's going to have a 2-point lead over Colin McDonough. You, Ethan Winters, are 9th in points, tied with Aaron Edwards with 9 points each, headed into next week's Bandit GT3 race at Lime Rock. So who's going to come ahead there?
We'll have to see. I haven't really had the schedule to allow for a lot of my Mondays, but hopefully we get another opportunity, and it'll be pretty fun. But I think right now we're just focused on Thursday, and I think I'm 15 points back of the front two, so hopefully we can just stay quiet and consistent and just beat them off consistency.
Let's talk to our part-timer who's now won, I think, what is it, Aiden? 4 races in a row on Rick James TV here. So this semi-retirement, how long is this going to last? Until it's not fun anymore?
Yeah, maybe. I have no definite answer to that.
You're winning everything. Everything you touch turns to gold, man. We tried to slow you down twice with cautions. On the second one, you said, I might not have enough fuel to win this race. And here you are, winning this race easily. You're on another level. But now Thursday night. I don't know when's the last time anybody won 3 races in a row in Thursday Night Thunder. Probably season 10, Jacob Bradley. No idea. But in any case, man, are you going to get 3 wins in a row at Chicagoland this Thursday?
I honestly don't know. I'm not a big fan of Chicagoland, so, I would say 50-50 whether I show up or not, but I think I've said that the last 2 interviews and ended up showing up, so we'll just have to see what happens.
We'll take the 50-50, and hopefully we'll be pleasantly surprised. It'd be nice to see you go for 3 in a row. Steph says you planned your fuel right. I think you're making more fans out there with your strategy as well, man. But for somebody who said, I think the Merc would have been a better car than the Porsche, you drove the hell out of that 911 GT3R, and here you are winning Bandit GT3. So for what it's worth, congratulations on this dominant win, and hopefully we see you a few nights from now at Chicagoland.
Yep, thank you, Rick.
That kid is genuinely extremely humble. If you tell him, oh my God, you're fantastic, you win absolutely everything there is to win, well, yeah, that's super true, but he genuinely, he won't brag about it. And what's fantastic about Aiden Norman is that if you genuinely ask for his help, he will go out there and just give you some help. There's nothing that he won't offer to drivers as far as help. He even makes just drifting through the chicane look incredibly easy, doesn't he? Ridiculous. Well, that's Aiden for you. That was fun. right? So the racing continues. The racing doesn't stop. Thursday will be much more serious than this. We have fun Thursday nights, but it's a bit more organized, and we're not just going to throw it together and slow somebody down for the hell of it. But tune in anyway. We're going to have a great time. So round 6 of TNT this Thursday, 8:40, as we do all our races right here, Rick James TV. Bandit GT3 continues next Monday night at Lime Rock, and then we get the Gen 4 cars to turn right on Thursday, March 19. Watkins Glen International, and I think that might be the end of our 7-week stretch in TNT. I'm not really sure. No, 2 more races after that. So we go March 19, March 26, April 2, and then we finally have a break. That's going to be such a long stretch of racing that we're going to be glad to end with, but we're still having fun for now. And hopefully you're having fun while we just sit here and screw around with our iRacing. So thanks so much for being a part of that. Until that next race.